Revolutions in baseball come around every 20 to 30 years. Every revolution happens because of the collision of two criteria. One, the masses need to be oblivious to a particular problem that exists in the system. If you had walked into the office of the director of scouting of any major league team in 1999 and said that he could literally fire all his scouts and just find the cheapest players with the highest on-base percentage, and doing so would save him money and win his division, obviously he'd think you were crazy. But Billy Beane in just 2 years would prove that to be true. 2. There needs to be a simple solution to this problem, something that can be easily implemented. By solving it easily and quickly, it allows for the revolution to take place. This is what revolutions are, rapid change in short periods of time. In the case of Moneyball, it came down to 3 letters, OBP, on-base percentage. Put all the pressure on on-base percentage and stop worrying about everything else. Simple. The revolution that I believe is on the horizon right now, at least one of them, resides in the realm of baseball swing instruction, how the swing is taught. Everyone right now assumes that we're on the cutting edge of teaching the best possible swing. Ingredient number 1 for a revolution. They assume this because of possibly the biggest red herring situation to ever come along in baseball. First, Barry Bonds turned himself into the greatest hitter of all time by gaining 40 pounds of muscle. The swing instruction community was thrown off by this. They have assumed that it's his swing that did it. Not saying his swing is horrible, but it shouldn't be held up as the ideal, and it shouldn't be held up as the reason why he improved so drastically and became the best hitter of all time. Then, a swing coach comes along who developed his approach essentially by copying Barry Bonds and started getting credit for the success of literally the largest and strongest hitter to ever step into a major league batter's box, Aaron Judge. This has resulted in the popular swing method being one in which the hitter is too stiff, keeps too much weight on his back leg, and the hands push outward to contact, causing weak hits and inconsistency. Because Barry Bonds and Aaron Judge can get away with it, doesn't mean it's ideal. And it doesn't mean they couldn't possibly do even better with a different swing. So here's my simple solution. We need to have a more systematic way of finding the quintessential feel of a great swing. First, we need to compile a list of the hitters throughout Major League Baseball who most likely had the best swings. That way, we are gathering data from a large sample size. We're not just picking certain hitters and copying what they do. It starts with the pound-for-pound equation. This equation finds the hitters who hit with the most power and consistency per pound of body weight. This is the best possible way of ranking the hitters who had the best swings. Is it perfect? No, but it's good enough for finding patterns. By eliminating the effect of body weight, we are able to more closely isolate the skill of swing mechanics. Since everything else being equal, those who weigh more should be able to hit the ball harder. By this standard, you see some of the regular all-time greats at the top, like Ruth, Gehrig, Mantle, Williams, Mays, Aaron. But you also see guys like Eric Davis, Oscar Gamble, Ken Griffey Jr., Jim Wynn, Ben Oglivie, Darryl Strawberry, Mookie Betts, Brandon Lowe, Ozzie Albies, and Corbin Carroll. These are guys that the swing instruction community has traditionally overlooked in favor of guys like Bonds and Judge. Now that we have the list, it's time to look for patterns. The most striking pattern is the tendency to flatten the barrel at the start of the swing, at the same time that the front humerus compresses up against the chest. You can also run the pound-for-pound equation on pitchers. I love doing this because it further isolates swing mechanics.
There's a well-hit ball, deep left field, that might go.
Since pitchers are also low in the skills of pitch recognition and hand-eye coordination, simply because they don't get the repetitions at the plate that position players get. When you do this, again, you see the same tendency to flatten the barrel to a high degree from guys like Mike Hampton, Carlos Zambrano, Giovanni Gallardo, Zach Greinke, Mike Leake, Madison Bumgarner, Livan Hernandez, and Rick Sutcliffe. The important thing is not to copy this flattening movement. It's not to try to shove it into your swing. Instead, we need to figure out what this move is saying in terms of feel, so you can do that feel in your own personal way. Remember, the big answer is always something simple. We shouldn't have to duct tape 4 or 5 or 6 different feels onto your swing action. So what is this movement, the flattening of the barrel, saying about the feel of a great swing? What it's saying is that a great swing is simply one that utilizes more pull of the lead side and less push of the back arm. This is why hitters who bat with their dominant arm in front are 10 times more likely to make the Hall of Fame. It's because they are more likely to pull with their lead side. Having more lead side pull is most of what swing mechanics is about. Don't worry, you don't need to switch to your weak side and start all over again. There's a simple way to learn to develop more lead side pull in your swing. Look at Ken Griffey Jr., one of the best hitters of all time, a pound-for-pound great. The guy with what almost everyone agrees was the greatest, most effortless swing of all time. What does he do to the extreme, more than anybody else? He pulls with his lead side. This is evident in the way that he starts his swing and by his positioning at the point of contact. Very connected, his lead arm still close to his torso. Very similar to what you'd see if a hitter had only his lead arm to swing, like we see from Tommy Morrissey. There are 2 things that the greatest pound-for-pound hitters did that set them apart mechanically, and that's utilize more of their lead side and do it in their own particular way. So I'm going to show you how to do both those things right now. Here I have a big bat in my hand. It's 35 and a half inches, and heavy wood. I'm not sure what it weighs. It's a Babe Ruth replica bat that I had made for myself. And I'm swinging it with just my lead arm. Now what this does is, by being so heavy, your body really figures out what do I need to do to control this action with my rotation and not try to manhandle it with your arm. So I'm figuring out the structure that my swing needs to be by swinging this bat. It's a good idea for you guys to hit balls doing this. Pick up a heavy bat and actually hit balls off a tee, or self-toss it to yourself and just see how far you can hit it. And what I want you to do is film your swing, or just simply pay close attention to what the action of your swing is starting to look like. This is the way I do more lead side. I have my arm very bent, and all I do is I keep the bat pretty still, and I just like to drop it into the slot in a very simple action. But this is the way I do it. And you need to find out how you do more lead side. By using a heavy bat and swinging it with just your lead arm, you're going to figure out that structure. Hey guys, I just want to point out here, you may have heard me say, I don't have my arm very bent. That is okay. That's just the way I have to do more lead side. And I figured that out by swinging with just my lead arm. I also don't get a lot of front humerus compression, and that's okay. You know, some hitters do more lead side in that way. Some hitters get more straight in the lead arm and get more front humerus compression. The key is to figure out how you like to do it. When I try to get too straight in my lead arm and maybe jerk too fast and put too much pressure on my lead side shoulder, I just don't really have the flexibility there. And what tends to happen is it's just too much pressure too soon, and the barrel tends to hang back for too long. So I like to kind of take it easy in that first millisecond of the forward swing and not be too jerky. That way I can flow into the contact, allowing the barrel to square up. So again, the point is you don't have to have your lead arm real straight. A lot of the pound for pound greats did, but a lot of them didn't too. Mike Schmidt, Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, those guys didn't get real straight in the lead arm, but they're still doing more lead side. You can tell that because of the slotting action of the bat. So do more lead side the way you need to do it. So I do this a few times. I really get to know the structure. You notice the really wide finish there? That's pretty common if you're gonna utilize your lead side. The next thing I do is I pick up a small bat. And I try to simulate that same move. I want to make sure that I can do that move even when I don't have to. Record both swings and make sure they look the same. As you can see here, both swings do look the same. Now what I want you to do is add the back arm, but only let it hover over the handle. This is the lead arm progression that you guys are used to. The only modification I did is I want you to swing that heavy bat to start off with. I really want you guys to figure out what your body needs to move like if it doesn't have the power to utilize just the lead arm. It's going to have to utilize the body rotation. I want to see what you guys look like when you swing that heavy bat. What sort of structure do you like? Babe Ruth had his own. Ken Griffey Jr. had his own. Albert Bell did it his own way. The common thread among all the great pound for pound hitters is that they utilized more lead side and they did it in their own particular way. So once you've done this, add the back arm, but only let it hover over the handle. So you want to make sure that it follows this action of the slotting of the bat that the lead side pull action wants to do by allowing this flattening action to happen. This is where you need to pay close attention when you add that back arm and make it hover. Make it feel this flattening action. Now, after you've had it hover a few times, now it's time to just add it, and you'll be ready to do that. You've taught the back arm how to move. You've taught your body what the lead side action needs to feel like. Now you're ready to just add the back arm hand onto the handle. Again, continue to feel what you've tried to ingrain in the first few steps. Make sure your body takes the same overall structure that you established. Make sure your back arm does not overexert and it allows the flattening action of the bat to happen at the start of the forward action. That is how you develop your own greatest swing.